today. Why aren't you announcing that? Did the Treasury want more work on it?
So let me tell you where we are, Carl. Absolutely. We've got a situation now in which the UK is coming out of COVID very fast, and as a result of the booster programme that we put in, we've got the fastest economic growth in the G7 and so on. Lots of things are going well, but the problem is that there's been a huge backlog in the NHS. About 1 in 9 of us is on an NHS waiting list in this country. 6 million people or more. Huge numbers. And unfortunately, that number is going to keep going up. So we're doing all sorts of things to clear the COVID backlogs. And we're putting about £8 billion more into electives. As you know, we're hiring 50,000 more nurses. We've got about 45,000 more people working in the NHS now than there were last year. And on top of that, we're now working with the NHS to set some tough targets so that we are able to deliver for patients and also for the taxpayer. Because, as you know, we're putting huge sums in.
Were the Treasury concerned that those targets weren't tough enough to be announced today?
Well, no. What we've got is some things we can say today, and we're going to be producing more in the course of the week. But what we can say already is that we want to make sure that when it comes to cancer, and I'm here in the Kent and Medway Oncology Centre, where they've done an amazing job, and they've kept going really very fast throughout the pandemic, and they've kept the levels of treatment up virtually as the same as they were before COVID. But we want everywhere in the country to match that success. So what we're saying is we want the vast majority of people who think they may have cancer to have a diagnosis either confirming that they do or that they don't have cancer within 28 days. So we want 3 and 4 to have that. And we're also saying that by March of 23, by spring next year, we want nobody to be waiting more than 2 months. We've got to, and those are very tough targets. We've got to make sure that the NHS delivers them. To help us do that and to help the whole system, we're introducing today an advance called My Planned Care, which basically means that if you are due for an operation or any other treatment, and you look around and you can see that you could get that treatment, that operation faster at somewhere like this place, for instance, which has low waiting lists and does things fast, then you can take advantage of it and we can use patient choice to try to drive down waiting lists as well.
Because somebody has been briefing that the Treasury said this plan wasn't ready to go, and on top of that, the Chancellor notably didn't back what you said about Keir Starmer when he was asked about it last week. Do you ever worry that the Chancellor might be after your job?
I think that what we're doing is working together across the whole of government to fix the COVID backlogs, which, believe me, is a massive priority for us, for everybody in the country. And,
no doubts about the Chancellor's
absolutely not. And what I would say is that it's thanks to the investment that we're able to put in, thanks to the sound management of the economy. Everything that we did, if you think about it, all the looking after business throughout the pandemic, that's enabled our economy to bounce back so well, that in turn enables us to put the investment that we need now in the NHS.
You've made some changes to staffing at Downing Street. Were any of the people you let go last week responsible for organising or attending rule-breaking parties at Downing Street?
If you'll forgive me, I'm focused completely on what we're doing now. And I know that people are interested in stuff going on at Westminster. Carl, I'm interested in what we at Westminster do to help people across the country. My job is to address what I think is the number one issue for this country, which is fixing the COVID backlogs. And so take oncology.
You can do that more effectively if you have a team working in number 10 that's
yes.
effective. I'm sure you'll agree. Have you had to reassure any of the new people you've been bringing in that this is a job with good long-term prospects that you will still be there for?
I think what people want is for the government to focus not on stuff going on at Westminster, but to focus on life, Carl, beyond Westminster, and to focus on the needs of the country. And that is what we are doing. And frankly, what we need to do is look at, for instance, look at cancer care. And we don't have the best outcomes historically in this country. But one thing is changing, which is that people are now more willing to come forward and say that they suspect that they might have cancer. And so you're seeing an increase in people coming forward and seeking a diagnosis. So that's why we've been increasing investment in fantastic machines like this. That's why we've been increasing investment in NHS staff, in nurses, in radiographers. As I say, 45,000 more NHS staff this year than last year. But what you've got to do is make sure that people get a diagnosis within 28 days, one way or the other, because it's partly a question, obviously, of the outcome, but it's also about people's state of mind, and people need to know.
Nevertheless, I'm still going to stick to Downing Street staff.
Keep going.
Because it is
Keep
important.
going.
Have you had to reassure them that you are going to be Prime Minister for the long term? Did you and Guto Harry sing I Will Survive?
Carl, we are focused, and I admire your tenacity, Carl, but we are focused completely, and it's absolutely the reality. Everybody at Number 10 and the Treasury are working together in harmony to deal with the big problems that the country faces, and clearing the COVID backlogs. So we've got large numbers of people coming forward now to get a diagnosis, and lots of them didn't get diagnosed during the pandemic, during lockdown. We need to encourage people to come forward, but we need to contract the time. So, for instance, if you suspect that you have prostate cancer, for instance, there can be lots of different procedures, lots of different tests that you have to go through, and that causes delay. It means that the time expands. We want to find ways of using new technology, modernising systems to do it faster and more efficiently.
Finally, Prime Minister,
yes.
Does your wife give you political advice? Do you take it? And do you think it's fair that people ask questions about what her role is?
I think it's entirely fair for people to focus on the issues that I'm focused on, and that is, number one, our priority, which is to tackle the COVID backlogs and rebuild our economy. We're fortunate because we took some decisions in Number 10 to double the pace of the booster rollout. We took some decisions that I think were very important a couple of months ago that enabled us really to get through the winter period without going into any further lockdown, any further restrictions. That's enabled us to come forward. What we've got to do now is look at the world as it is. Look at the state of the backlogs. Look at our wonderful NHS. Fought an incredible campaign against COVID, but so many people now coming forward with anxieties about things like cancer. And I bet everybody watching this can think of somebody they know who has an anxiety about that and who perhaps didn't get the scan or the treatment that they need. My message to them is you get that scan, get that diagnosis, and we will do absolutely everything in our power to make sure that you get a result in time. That's what this is all about. Thank you. Thank you.